Well, hello. It is the top of the hour, and you found your way to the Innovation Showcase. Today's topic is filtration and reuse of water. We are convened by Northwest Food Processors, sponsored by the Department of Commerce. Well, hello. It is the top of the hour, and you found your way to the Innovation Showcase. Today's topic is filtration and reuse of water. We are convened by Northwest Food Processors, sponsored by the Department of Commerce's MEP system for manufacturers. Let's get started.
Here is a virtual look at name badges of companies attending today, along with you. About 250 registrations. In February, our topic was remediating waste streams by removing suspended and dissolved solids. Following that event, our Food Processing Steering Committee asked us to focus next on water filtration for reuse. So, if your personal focus today is primarily on remediation, please stay with us now, but you might want to go have a look at our archive on our website for that February event. Industry steering committees have a strongly held view. They don't have time to spend investigating technologies that aren't ready, that are coming soon. They want their problem solved today, or as Jack Bauer would say, they want a solution now. That presents a problem for potable reuse for food processors because public interest groups object to food product being touched by used water. Never mind that since the dawn of time, all water has always been reused. But non-potable reuse does pass the Jack Bauer test. It's something you can do now. So that will be our focus today. Our three innovative solution providers today are Xylem of Rybrook, New York, founded in 2011 as a spin-off from ITT Corporation. Xylem will share their ozone and ultraviolet industrial water treatments. Desalitec was founded in 2008 in Newton, Massachusetts. I wonder if they have any plans to clean up the Charles River. Desalitec will focus today on reverse osmosis and their closed-circuit desalinization technology. Neptune Benson began in 1956 installing swimming pools. They thought they could do better than the filters then available, and they introduced their own proprietary filter in 2004. They are now a major supplier for municipal and industrial filtration, and they'll focus today on their cross-flow microsand filtration product. Now, let's meet the Situation and Trends panel. Eric Wu is Senior Consultant with Antia Group, a global engineering and environmental consulting firm with 3,500 people on 6 continents. Andy Shea is Executive Vice President of HDR, a global engineering and sustainability company. We don't have time to list all their lines of business, so here's a quick look at the drop-down on their website. Joe Catruvo has had a distinguished career creating and directing water safety programs for the World Health Organization and the Environmental Protection Agency, and has over 200 papers published. Joe and Andy also have leadership roles in the Water Reuse Association.
So, okay, let's ask our panel to join us. Gentlemen, can you turn your cameras on and make sure your microphones are on, and let's get started. We can't hear Joe. So Andy, Ron, can you maybe figure a way to Joe, so you can hear us, but we can't hear you. So while Joe is getting his mic turned on, let's just go ahead with the panel and start the first question, which is, gentlemen, what circumstances do you think have to exist in order for the safety advocates to relent and let folks use reused water for full contact? What needs to happen?
Sure thing, Skip. I think a number of things have got to come together, and I know that Joe's having some difficulty here, and certainly would defer to his expertise on contact regulations. But certainly there have to be, some more extreme conditions before we get public acceptance of reused water for contact. But certainly as we're getting to more acute drought circumstances, there's greater and greater public acceptance, more pressure from the non-governmental organizations asking the question, why aren't we using recycled water?
So, Eric, are you seeing a crescendo of concern about scarcity and things are actually moving, or is it still a long, long way off?
Well, I think we already see a lot of the weather climate change impact to the drought everywhere in the majority of the country. So I think from my experience, the industry side, agricultural, everybody's taking this water conservation, water reuse more seriously.
Okay, and Joe, can you try talking? Let's see if we got you.
Yes, can you hear me on the phone?
Oh, yeah, we can hear you. Great.
Good. Okay. Well,
Give me just 15 seconds because we're going to run short, so 15 seconds.
Sure. Yes, I agree, and definitely the water shortage publication in the press has sort of loosened the concerns, and which means that many more opportunities for water reuse will occur, all the way from potable down the scale to a variety of non-potable approaches.
Great. Okay. Housekeeping for the audience. We want your questions for the panel. And Andy, can you open up the chat screen? Great. So if you have questions, please feel free to key them in, and we'll take them and make sure you are covered. We do want to have the panel address the audience profile. It's quite a distinguished panel, a distinguished audience, and let's take a look at what's in it. So 60% manufacturers, mostly food processors, and then the other 40%, maybe we can call that the manufacturing helping professions. You come from all over the U.S., mostly almost all states. And then we asked in registration, what applications do you have in mind? It's really interesting that lots of angst about the pushback about full contact reuse, but still the first thing folks want to do, the most important thing is contact. And if you combine this other response, direct potable reuse, it's even larger. But everybody is also equally focused on cooling towers, HVAC, chillers, et cetera. Now, what's driving the decision? Again, this is audience response. Pretty much it's just, let's reduce water use. The next one being reduce costs of water and electricity. I thought it was interesting that there was such a small response about being concerned about regulation. So panel, what's your take from that? How do you interpret that lack of concern about regulation at this point?
Well, I'm the old regulator, so I'll comment. I think the only critical driver question here is with direct potable reuse. All of the other reuse opportunities are much less regulated, and in fact, there are some standards in existence. For example, the state of California, Title 22, has a whole variety of regulations that apply to many different qualities of use of water, including gray water, recycled for sanitary uses, etc. So the real critical issue today is direct potable, direct contact.
And it would be correct to say that there really aren't very many regulations promulgated right now about reuse for direct contact. Is that right?
Actually none.
Okay, so that's why it's not a decision driver. The audience says 60% of us recognize this is something we have to address, and 25% of it have to address it right now. It's urgent. The folks making those decisions in the audience equally split between the operators and the P&L decision maker types. So what are the barriers to decisions? Cost number one, but then again, the pushback from consumer advocacy groups tied for first as the key barrier. Interesting that 12 to 15% of the audience said, hey, we're doing something right now. So again, panel, is that a surprise that there are 15% of this audience already reusing water?
No,
I'm not.
There are so many opportunities.
So Eric, go ahead.
Yes, I think the facility I've been involved with mostly try to achieve those what I call basic fundamental water recycling, water reuse. Water is been cost-driven for certain operation beyond than just regulation. So I'm not surprised. I think the people already try to do the best effort to recycle, reuse the water, and also try to looking for any further step from here.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then if we look at this little block here, we could maybe characterize all of these barriers as being well, can we make it work questions. And our vendor presenters will address a lot of those issues as well. Here are some detailed questions from the audience for the panel, and then the more broadly shared questions really comes back to aspirations to use in contact. How clean can we get the water, and can we use it for front-end processing? So audience wants to hear us talk about that in the context of all the technologies we're going to see. So Andy, can you bring us back to panel mode? And let's shift really quickly to maybe one more question for the panel before we get to our first presenter. And then we have a whole bunch of other questions we're going to ask the panel that we'll come back and get between the presenters and we'll catch up. But gentlemen, how would you characterize the situation and trends? What's happened in the last couple of years? Where are we now? And what's going to happen that everybody will have to pay attention to in the next year or two? And Andy Shea, why don't you go ahead and take that for starters, and we'll get to the rest of you.
Skip, I think with the greater media attention that Joe and Eric had referred to, we're also seeing the advent of the Dow Jones Sustainability Index and a lot of drivers within the CFO office on how we're going to stay on the Dow Jones Index for sustainability. What metric do we use for making these investments? So it's not just the communications department that's pounding on this issue. It's actually the finance department looking to stay on the Dow Jones. And of course, the current trend for a large number of the big box retailers looking for those sustainability metrics as part of their supply chain management.
Eric, what's your take?
I agree with Andy. We do see this sustainability driven, and we also see the community awareness. So I think he is this stage of the water industry is beyond than just from previously compliance, from previously could be a financial side of return or investment. But I think it's a lot of good initiative, community, and public awareness. It's going to drive in this market to next level.
And Joe, why don't you wrap it up for us?
Yes. Well, I think non-potable reuse is old news. I mean, there are many, many opportunities, and they've been exercised for many years, all the way from washing streets to agriculture to irrigation for crops. The new deal is direct potable drinking water reuse. And that's where the remarkable shift has occurred in just the last 2 years. 2 years ago, people would say, well, direct potable, that may be something in the future. Now it's reality. Okay.
Audience, I'm going to just walk you quickly through the rest of the questions that we're going to be asking over the course of the program today. For decision makers, what's the shorthand for figuring out when is it time, when does it pencil out? Is there any ROI for being green? What's the biggest failure this group has seen for the most dollars spent? And conversely, what's the biggest success for the least dollars spent? And then we'll wrap with the panel about trying to figure out, what do they say over and over again to their clients so you can get a sense of what the issues are. So thanks, gentlemen. Don't go away.